This is your captain speaking. As you can tell in the cabin, we're hitting some shaky times, and it's about to get worse. So please take a moment, make sure you are buckled, and the loved ones around you are buckled, because we're about to hit turbulent truth. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as always, of all genders.
And all ages.
Of all ages and genders and
Yes.
ladies, as long as they're ladies and gentlemen. That's all.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's absolutely correct.
There's male, there's female, there's kind of nothing
It's
else.
very biological.
That's pretty
Yeah,
much it.
Yeah.
We're all about biology.
But I feel tall.
You know, he identifies as svelte.
That's well. There's a lot I could say about that and probably shouldn't.
Probably ought not.
No, better not do that.
So this is Turbulent Truth.
Oh, it sure is.
I'm Gary Chapman.
And I'm Scott Cudger.
That's him. And we, every week, we come and tell you what we think.
We pontificate.
And for the most part, we're absolutely right. So you can take it to the bank.
Without a doubt. Don't fact check us, just take our word for it.
It is to some degree opinion, but a
do
lot of what we
research.
do is just straight up facts. And
Yeah.
those are pesky little things.
I know.
Yeah.
That data, that source material that's not an opinion of an opinion, it can
Yeah.
really get in the way of what you think.
There's some interesting stuff happening globally.
That's
I know
an understatement.
we promised that we would dive into the education thing.
Sure.
And we have to do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that. But there's
But
so
there's
many
some
other things.
amazing stuff. Did you see?
I said we start with that.
Did you see?
Yeah.
It looks like Sweden may have come to its senses.
No, my wife has got me on 24/7 lockdown on the Queen because it's a
Seriously?
historical moment because the children are being homeschooled. I agree with her, but at this point, I think I'm puking a crown. So
Well, I get it. I mean, no, that is important.
It is.
To be living through this process, real time, from an educational standpoint. But is she getting more dead over time? Is it?
well,
No, I'm kidding. There's a lot of ceremony. There's a lot of
More
respect.
dead. Well, it started 20 years ago, but
Well,
we don't have time for that one.
Jury's out. Anyway,
But it is pretty amazing when she came in. It is pretty amazing. Churchill was her mentor. Now it's flipped, and you have a prime minister coming in that's not very seasoned, and let's face it, a king that's definitely he's been an intern.
Seasoned?
He's been an intern for 40 years.
and he's 73.
Right.
How long do you think he'll be there? If he was smart, and I don't think he is. If he was, and I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
From what he has said publicly, though, there's a butter knife and there's a steak knife, and I think we know what we're cutting with him. But the
spoon?
The spoon, yes. No, he would say right now, you know what? I'm going to give it 5 years,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to abdicate to what's his name. Would it be Harry? Would he be next? No.
Harry is not going to get
No,
it.
no, just kidding.
No. Nope. That ain't happening.
Anyway, so you're up to your eyeballs in the Queen.
So
and
I
you
missed-
have missed
Yeah.
the fact that it appears as though Sweden has, like I said, kind of come to its senses. They don't really want to have anything to do with the lockdowns and the mandates and the stupidity and the social agenda with the whole ESG and the climate. We got to do everything because the climate change is killing us all like tomorrow.
Oh, it is. It's happening right now.
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. And it was a big win. It was a big win. People,
So what exactly happened?
they voted on a guy to become the leader of the Conservative Party. He was put in, I think, with 68% of the vote. It hasn't happened in a long time.
68% of the group. Oof.
And
Wow.
so that puts, that'll put him in charge of whatever their prime minister-ish thing is. I think they still have a monarchy there, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So the rest of the world is still they're trying to do a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
And then Canada. Canada may be snapping out of it. There's a
I
new
pray.
guy.
I
There's a
hope.
new guy. I will not even begin to pronounce his name. It's French. Okay, now I'm going to have to try. It's Poillevre. I would go Poivre. That'd be what I'd say. But then I don't speak French, which is why, I don't know if we've mentioned it or not, but between us, the White House spokesman,
Yeah.
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre. Yeah.
In our world, Her name is Karen John Peter. Okay? We don't speak French. And her name is Karen John Peter. Okay? That's her name.
Oh, we prefer to just call her Petey.
In English, that's her name.
Wow.
So, where were we before I took myself away?
A little bit of a winding road today.
No, it looks like
Sweden.
the not
Canada.
if but when
Yes.
there is an opportunity, because they don't have like the regular thing, you know. It's
Right, yeah.
it's different. It's different.
It's always
confusing.
different.
It's
Yes.
very confusing. But having a really strong conservative in a position of power
Yeah.
at this particular moment in their history,
That'd be huge.
Let's say somebody were to stumble.
Right.
It'd be a good opportunity for reality to rear its beautiful, ugly head, and boom, I'm here. This is what's really happening.
Isn't it interesting that it's like a continuous ebb and flow where we go a conservative route and then we think, well, maybe the liberals have something. And then we try for a while and we go, whoa, wait a minute. What do we do?
We didn't mean
danger, danger, real one, danger. You know, it's kind of like, and then we, oh, let's go back this other way. But here's the thing that's sad. It's a course correction, kind of like when you're on ice.
Right.
And you don't know what you're doing when you're driving. You're a new driver and you overcompensate. You're trying to steer into it.
True. Good
right?
analogy.
Same thing. And you're going from ditch to ditch. Center's kind of nice, slightly right. I'm just saying, I mean, or even slightly left a little bit, as long as it's center.
As long
According
as you
to
don't go off the road.
exactly.
That's the key.
And I think we're overcompensating on both sides, if you ask me.
Yeah. And this road is quite curvy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that it is.
Yeah.
We need a Corvette on it. That's what we need.
Yeah, something with
Right
that.
now, we're driving a dump truck.
Big time.
Yeah.
Very loose steering.
Very loose, and one hubcap missing,
Yeah.
one lug nut.
And it's
Yeah.
loaded. It's top heavy.
Oh, it is very top heavy.
I'd go with hay wagon. That's really
That's a
a better
little better.
analogy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's a Corvette pulling a hay wagon.
Yes. That's what we've got going right now.
Woof.
So Sweden, Canada.
What else?
Quite frankly, around the world, there is a I don't want to say nationalist because that makes everybody
An
think you're a
awakening?
Nazi.
They're not.
There is a spirit of the people taking back their rightful position of power in government. And I think it's about to get really interesting.
I do too. I think it is fun. I have paid attention a little bit to Canada and some others, but I did not know about Sweden, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it is. I think it's getting very interesting. I also believe that what we're seeing is a time of that adjustment we were talking about, where they're trying to steer into the slide, and they're realizing that some of the things they're doubling down on, it's not time to double down on. Climate change, the rest of it, they're just crazy stupid to be doing it right now.
Oh, it's a horrible time.
And I mean, they're reaping the benefits from that happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, truth be known, let's be honest, it's a horrible idea anyway. Mm-hmm. It is. If you actually look at the data, if you really look at the data,
study it
about what the carbon levels were long before there were vehicles and we had any kind of dependence on fossil fuel globally, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
Well, and when you take a look at the new data that has been getting gathered for a long time, getting gathered,
Getting gathered.
It's been getting gathered, y'all, for a long time. I'm Southern now. I'm getting there.
you're
I'm
there.
getting there.
You're fixing to be.
I'm fiction to be. But, you know, if you look at all that data that we have been compiling for a
Right.
while, right? It just came out from scientists. What a crazy concept, scientists. That the sun's getting closer to us. So wait a minute. So the sun's getting closer. We're getting hotter. Huh. So let me ponder. I don't
Let's
need to
think.
ponder that.
Let's think.
I don't need to. That's just, it's like Bruce Almighty grabbed it with a lasso,
Right.
pulling it to us.
Well,
You haven't seen the movie? Great
surely
movie.
there's something we as humans, there's something that we're doing that's causing the sun to be drawn to us.
No.
Sure, there's got to be. There's no way that nature
We are
could
s-
actually be in God's control.
Yeah, that it's not going through a natural rebirthing cycle that the earth has been
no,
designed to
that'd
go
be
through.
silly.
But at the same token, I do want to say this. Because I make this statement doesn't mean that biblically we don't have a responsibility to steward what God gave us.
Well,
At all.
I promise you.
But it doesn't need to be a religion.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. There's two sides of that argument.
Yeah.
There's people that think that we are in very short order as humans
Yeah.
destroying our planet. We're all going to die. That's it. What a bunch of idiots we are. Okay. Then on the other side, there's people that think that that whole thing is just a giant scam, carbon tax
Right.
credits. It's just
Yeah.
rich guys trading money. It's all about them getting a whole lot more and us getting a whole lot less.
Right.
And the reality is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's say they're both a little bit right.
Yeah.
Let's say they're both completely wrong.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. What matters is, do you think it's a good idea or not to be a good steward of the only planet we can currently occupy?
I think that would be a yes.
I think that's a yes.
Yeah, resounding.
Globally.
Resounding yes.
So, yeah, it's just.
I don't know why we have to pick sides like that. You know, that's
There's
you don't have
one
to.
side.
Yeah, it's God's.
There you go.
It's God's side. You know.
All right, we're eating into all your education time. I really am.
You know what?
I wanna know this.
We did a pretty good portion last week, and we're just going to dive back into it. So where we left off was we were talking about endowments, right? How crazy the amount was.
Before you get going too far.
Okay.
And pointedly
Yes,
too
sir.
fast.
Oh yeah. Slow
After editing last week's episode, I'm just going to reiterate: if you'll just
Slow
it
down a
just
tad bit.
nudge.
All right. So I get a little excited. So what I'm going to do
It's
now?
awesome.
Here we go.
You can pick it up a little bit, just a little. Pick it up from there. Just pick it up, skosh. Not a smidge.
A scotch.
scotch.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking to my French Canadian roots. So glad they're making a comeback. All right. So hopefully. So where we left off last week is there's these endowments, right? And they're absorbent. I mean, just the top 30 was $85 billion. That's with a B. So you're going, what do you need that much money for? It's supposed to be for improvements, et cetera, et cetera. So then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Why are we lending this money to these poor kids that most of them and their parents don't have the resources to truly pay back, except over a 30 or 40 year period? It's a mortgage.
It's indentured servitude.
It really is.
It is.
So I'm like, why don't they do an ROI, a return on investment?
Ooh.
We have to do it for mortgages. Can you afford that house? We have to do it for cars.
Yep.
Can you afford that? We do it even for credit cards.
Right.
Can you service this debt?
Yeah.
Hello? If we did a simple ROI that said, okay, here is the profession or the professions, your skill sets that you're training for can get you into. This is what they average make right now. This is where they're predicting they're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. And you look at all that data and go, oh, well, you're going to have a hard time servicing that debt if you want to buy a house too.
Right.
And literally break it down in such a way where it says, okay, average house is this, average this. And then they get a full picture of, if you take on this loan debt, you don't get a house until you're 50. If you take on this, you don't, and just show them how it's crippling their lives.
You know what would happen?
By doing that.
I wonder what percentage of young people, many of which are actually very smart,
Oh, very smart.
despite the way they're acting currently.
Well, common sense and intelligence does not match.
They don't always go together.
No, they don't.
A whole lot of them would go, okay, then I think I'm not going to go to college. I think I'm going to be an undersea welder because I think that's cool.
Right.
I'm going to knock down about 250 grand a year, live a very adventurous life. I might die, but hey.
And going for 2 years,
Yeah.
1 year of training, 1 year on the job.
There you go.
Come on. I think what
I mean, that's one example.
Yeah.
There's so
There's so
things.
many.
You could just as easily
It's unreal.
say, you know what?
HVAC, all of that.
I love working with wood. I think I've got a skill. And make the most beautiful handmade furniture in your city.
Yeah.
And be backlogged for the rest of your life because you do something so well.
Agreed.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. What's great if they were to do that, what that would do is it would put it in such a perspective that less people would go. Colleges would say, oh man, we do have enough in our endowment.
No.
Maybe we should lower our prices a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's the same as supply and demand. That's why capitalism works.
Thank
If
you.
we do supply and demand,
Yep.
guess what? We keep these guys in check. But the problem is they've sold us on, well, if your son doesn't go, well, guess what? Even Google, the rest of even some of the people we think are too far left, they've even woken up and said, you know what? We're going to give you certification programs. You go through that and you prove that you can do that, then you're in. They don't care about it anymore.
No.
They really don't.
No.
Coding classes, 6 weeks. 6
Wow.
weeks. Yeah. A friend of mine just took a coding class, 6 weeks, is now JavaScript certified.
And he can get a job at...
He already got one.
There you go.
I mean, like that. Left one job, went to another guy like that.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he's 1099 out of his house. So he's making 3 times as much.
Yep.
1099 out of his house. Able to pay for his own insurance and stuff because he doesn't need them anymore.
Right.
Boom. So that's one of the things. The thing that really gets me is we don't deny financing. Mm-mm. Ask people how. I want to know this. I actually don't know. If anyone knows this, email us right up here.
There it is.
And email us because I want to know if you can find this data. Have they ever been denied? Has a Pell Grant or student loan ever been denied?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I'm going to look into it myself. We'll have a follow-up. But
I would say it's rare.
I think it's very rare.
Yeah.
Very, very rare. So, okay. So this would lower the cost of education, period. It just would if we did that. So why don't they propose less expensive options? So in the state of Tennessee, don't fully agree with it, but you know what? I understand it. Some of the state schools give free education for the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
But here's the thing that makes me mad. First 2 years are doing what? Getting their electives out of the way, right?
Going to high school.
They're going to high school again.
Yeah, they are.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Because high school sucked.
Yes.
It didn't teach
We
them
did a
jack.
horrible job.
Yeah.
And so they're going through high school again.
Yeah, we did a horrible
Why?
job the first time, so let's do it again, but let's make them do it in half the time.
And I know what's exactly. And doing homeschooling, I'm watching my kids as we're in our second year getting more proficient in 4 hours. They're done in 4 hours.
Wow.
They're done in 4 hours. If they're focused, they're done. Boop, on to what they want to do.
And these kids aren't missing a step.
No.
I promise you.
No, not with my wife.
No. No.
Teacher shortages. Let's move on to that. You know what it's because of? It's because they're not getting paid enough.
They're not getting paid enough.
You know what the average teacher makes in Williamson County?
Not enough.
About 70 grand.
No, we need more.
Yeah,
we need more.
lots more. So could it be that maybe they're going so far into indoctrination over education that these teachers go, well, wait a minute, I was here to educate these people, not be their parents.
I can't tell you how many friends of ours, great teachers.
Phenomenal.
I've been doing this 20, 25, 30 years teaching.
But still cutting edge.
Really, really cutting edge.
Oh, yeah.
Kept up, right? It's not, she's falling asleep in the corner. No. Very, very good teachers that have absolutely just said, no, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I'm actually spending my time trying to teach kids math so incorrectly that it breaks my heart.
Oh, yep, absolutely.
And I'm setting them up to fail.
2 plus 2 is 6. Don't you know that?
I do
Show
now.
your work.
I do now.
Show your work.
No.
It's so funny because in homeschooling, we're like showing the logical way.
Right.
And my son's killing it.
Of course he
Dude,
is.
the other day I just looked at him, I go, and he's already a savant when it comes to numbers like his daughter is.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there and I go, okay, buddy, you're struggling because he's taking too long to write, right? We're working on his writing, but because he's taking too long, he forgets the answer to the next one, and then he gets frustrated.
Right.
So I go, I'm just curious. We timed him.
Yeah.
2 full pages of worksheet. It would have taken me 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Easy. 7 minutes.
Wow.
I asked the question in his head. He's like, that. And I go, buddy, how are you doing it so fast? Well, Dad, that thing you showed me of chunking, where you chunk this and put the 2 chunks together and then add the 3rd chunk. And Cindy goes, my head hurts. He's like, but he just gets it. Each child's different, and that's where they're at a handicapped, and I get that. But back to the financing thing. I'm not dissing people. I know there's teachers out there not making jack. I get it. But you need to be mad because guess what? They gave a bailout. This is why bailouts don't work.
Right.
They did it during COVID. And guess how much percentage has been spent up to this point?
I know.
Okay, tell it.
7%.
7%.
7%. So they're sitting on 93% of the COVID money. What are they doing with it?
That's a good question. And does it reabsorb back into the government if they don't use it in a timely fashion, which is what I would have put on it?
I suspect.
You use it or you lose it. It's that simple. And you have to justify where you use it, right? It has to be to better things. You could take that money right now, if you take a look at it. Oh, we're having problems with school shootings. And we just got to get... Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. And it just wrenches me. It makes me upset it's happening. But guys, we have funds to secure the facilities so it doesn't happen.
Dude, do you have
Period.
you have any idea how much it costs to get a good quality drag queen in to dance for your kids? It's very expensive. You can't just throw ones at them like they do in the movies. You got to write them a check. They're not showing up if you don't give it up.
my gosh, you're so wound up today.
That's where the 7% went. That's where the 7% went. They didn't do anything good with it. Oh my gosh.
And you know, on top of all this, what's happening? What's the result of all the bad decisions? Kids are testing so horribly.
Awful.
And yes, the catalyst was COVID.
Yeah.
Get it. But it was the policies that followed it and continue to follow like a bad venereal disease forever.
Well, the quality of
it's
schools
like,
is directly. I put all the blame on two things, this is going to sound redundant, but they're not completely. The teachers' unions are completely corrupt.
Yeah.
Controlled completely by the
really
left.
are.
The literally evil agenda.
And by the way, when we say left, I want to clarify something. I've got good friends
It's
on the
not
left.
Democrat.
We're talking progressive left. Far.
I'll stop saying it.
Yeah.
I'll just say evil.
There you go.
Because what I'm talking about is
Or the people
darkness. It's just darkness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the fact that we have that in place, and at the same time, the school boards, to a large degree, are just completely controlled by the darkness. They are. Now, I know there's been big shifts. There
has.
but we got a long way to go.
Oh, keep fighting, guys.
In this county, this is a great county.
It
I
is
love
an
here.
amazing county.
I love this.
I do
This
too.
is the county in Tennessee to live in.
It is.
If you can afford it, this is where you want to be.
And even if you can't, try it anyways.
I'm hanging on by a thread.
Right,
I can't
aren't we?
afford to live here.
Me too.
But the reality is the school board, and I'm saying this publicly, they are absolutely out of step with the population. They are.
Yeah, they are.
They're completely out of line.
They really are.
And it breaks my heart.
So how do we fix the testing?
Well, I should say one more thing.
Okay.
This because it's a quick aside, but I think it's hilarious. Williamson County the school board, they love to talk about how we're the number one school system in the state. Number one. We're the best. Guess where the state ranks in the country?
Yeah.
41 last time I checked.
Yeah, we're dropping.
Numbers move around, but it ain't anywhere close to high. Okay, I'm like, congratulations. You're at the top of the bottom of the ladder. Yay. You're doing a great job.
I just got the jerk reference where it's like, okay, you went everything from the chiclets over to the and down from the in this space right here, you're the winner.
That's all right. He hates these cans.
He hates these cans.
Okay, now we're sidetracking. Imagine
So,
that.
anyways, so the kids, how do we get them back on track? One of the most brilliant thing I've heard said was from a formal,
Easy for Shu to make.
So a formal Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, and it's been back a little ways, but he came on, and it was blah 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 running, and he said it, and I whipped my head around. I was like, wow. He said, if we just focused, especially the kids from kindergarten to third grade, on three things: reading, writing, and arithmetic, and nothing else, in 18 months, so basically 1.5 school years, they'd be caught up.
Wow. So
And he's basing it off studies.
Somehow reading, writing,
What a concept.
that arithmetic, that rings a bell somewhere in my memory.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we go back to the basics, just like Bobby Knight coming into Indiana basketball and going, you guys all suck. We're going back to the basics, making them dribble again and all that stuff. They all got mad because they were all prima donnas and they were scouted and awesome. He got them back on top because he went back to the basics.
Yeah.
That's all we got to do. That's it. It's that simple.
I don't have a problem
Stop
with that.
indoctrinating, start educating, go back to the basics, and we can get out of this thing. So please wake the frick up. If anyone's out there that's got any power to do anything inside the system, do it.
Yep.
Propose the things we're talking about. Look into it. Research it yourself. I'm telling you, it will blow your mind of how accurate what we're talking about will work. The accuracy of what we're talking about and applying it will work.
I wouldn't argue with him. He's smart.
I don't know about that.
He talks too fast, but he's
know.
really smart. All right, this has been fun. I have
What do you got?
I do have a sweet song that I want to contribute at the end of the show.
Okay.
I'm
this one?
still Gary Chapman,
Oh, and I'm still Scott Kutcher.
and this is Turbulent Truth.
Indeed.
When peace lies tendeth my way. When sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when the faith shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with